Welcome back to Locked On Women's Basketball. Thank you so much for making this your first listen of the day. Today, I'm joined by someone very special. I can't wait to hand the mic over to Gina Paradiso from Lift Sports Manage It. Used to be at ESPN, one of the best people I know, former baller too in college herself. Locked On Women's Basketball starts now.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I definitely have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly now on the free App Store or on Google Play. All right, that's enough for me. Gina, you're back in Vegas. How was your travels from Chicago?
By the way, I love Monopoly Go, and I actually play Monopoly Go. It's fun. I have a goddaughter who's in high school, and like we play that for real. So,
ooh, wait, is that a good way to bond with the goddaughter? Because I'm trying to find ways to bond with my niece. I feel like I should do like a little mobile game like that.
Yeah, like you either play a video game, like FaceTime them. You know what I mean? Like maybe like hit them on like a Snapchat DM. I don't know, like, yeah. Or like just go do something outdoorsy. Like my goddaughter's a big time soccer player. So if we're like outside doing everything, even like playing card games. So yeah.
Ooh, okay. I love that. Thank you for supporting the pod by supporting Monopoly Go. I appreciate that.
You got to take care of the people who pay the bills.
Yeah. All right. And so how was it? How was the whole experience? You went from the draft to Chicago. I'm sure you were so busy before the draft even happened. So a busy last week. And how's it been?
Yeah, I mean, it's for the women, it's so tough. Like it's, not about me and how tough it was for me. Like for these players, these women that have to go from, competing for a national championship in college, whether they get a, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, win it all, as Angel did, last year, as Camilla and the Gamecocks did this year. And then it's like, boom, you're right into draft preparation. And if you lose short of the title, I guess the silver lining is you have a few more days to plan for draft. Like there's a lot that goes into that, your outfit, who you're wearing, what you're wearing, like how you're putting it all together, who's doing your hair and makeup, just all of the things that go into it, like logistically. And then wrapping your mind around, like within a month, you're going to be playing professional basketball. So it's like college, competing at the highest level, going to the draft. And then you're literally figuring out where you're going to live in market once you've been drafted, and all the things that you need from an infrastructure standpoint around you, meeting new personnel and players at the team, veterans, coaches, GMs, front office, et cetera. And then actually getting there and like, okay, yeah, where am I going to live? Like, what's my commute like, sort of getting your bearings. So it's a lot for them. I mean, the guys, they don't have to do it as fast. They end their season in April, some in March. And then they have months before they even get drafted at the end of June. And then, another, lull before they're in summer league in Vegas. And then another lull before, camp starts at, in September for the NBA. So they put a lot on these girls, and they don't get the credit they deserve, for sure, in a lot of ways, but certainly in that adjustment.
Mm-hmm. And what have you seen too? You have to be selective when you bring in women's basketball clients. When did you realize that you had to be selective in terms of that, since you do represent so many others?
Yeah, I mean, like the men make more money, right? Like that's not breaking news. And so they are the ones that keep the lights on, right? I mean, guys can demand $20 to $40 million a year just, in player contracts, if they're at the top of their game, right? And even the ones that are, minimum in the NBA are making $3, $4, $5 million a year, 12 million, 16, 20 million over 3-4 years. So the basketball business on the NBA side is obviously, apples to oranges. So on the women's side and on the men's side, you want to be selective too, because not every NBA player is also marketable off the court, but at least you have like a fair ratio of like how an NBA player performs on the court usually will inform what he can make off the court, right? In terms of marketing and brand. Someone just rung my doorbell, but that's okay.
Gina's a busy woman. Everyone listening to this Locked On Women's Basketball episode, we're lucky to have her. They got people knocking down your door right now.
It's probably like someone delivering a package, which is great. The dogs will go crazy, but it's all good. I have a ring cam so I can see it.
Nice.
But you know, on the women's side, right, they don't make that much. Like, we know, we've seen as of late, people are now like exposing what women's salaries are in the CBA. Like it's only been here for days. This current CBA has been here since like before COVID. So like, we know what women make on the court. We know what their max dollars are. We know what this hard cap is in the W. So off the court, yeah, you do have to be selective. Like, I have to really look at a player and almost not care about how well she bounces a basketball and care more about like her personality, her content, like in front of the camera as a creator, as an influencer, what kind of brand opportunities or potential or content opportunities or potential there might be. So very much more selective on the women's side. And, you know, there's so few dollars in terms of basketball. There's so few dollars in terms of marketing. There's so few dollars off the court in terms of content also. So you really have to just take a look. And, you know, I hate to say like quality over quantity, because I want to work with every single WNBA player and bring them opportunities and find ways for women to win. But realistically, you know, there are a select few that get to do this at a high level. And so you have to, you know, take a really holistic look at it.
And for you, when did you realize Angel Reese was one player that you wanted to represent?
I mean, I'm not dumb. So like when she was born, but no, like watching Angel at Maryland, and Angel's had a marketing manager and a manager who's phenomenal. Her name is Janine. Janine and I go way back to my days at ESPN and the ESPYs. Janine was, you know, navigating business opportunities for NFL guys like Josh Norman and like really like helping him scale and go up. And she started working with Angel when Angel was still at Maryland. And we just stayed in touch. Like, it's a long game. Like, you know, Janine has been with her all the way through. And, you know, when Angel won a national championship, I think every single agent in their right mind was trying to sort of get a piece of that business. And I think what most agents don't understand is like, when you have someone who's been with a player like Janine has been and has earned that trust and is in that family, right, in that trust tree, you will make the mistake every single time of trying to go around that person, cut that person out, circumvent that person. Janine and I have a relationship from when I was at ESPN and what she was doing previously. So we just stayed in touch. And as Angel got closer to making a basketball decision and turning pro, then it was time to hire a player contract agent. And I was there. And I sort of just waited for that moment. And it was strategic, sure, but it was also just natural. Like, it was just, we had built a relationship, and I had one with Janine and then with Angel, and now her family. And so, you know, sometimes you just have to play the long game, and also not be a dickhead. And, you know, aggressive. We as agents have to be sharks. We have to be aggressive, but we also have to have finesse and like understand like the bigger picture of things. And that was, you know, sort of my strategy with it all, if you want to call it a strategy. But really, it was just like me being me, and that's just how I move, and that's how Janine moves, and it's how Angel moves, and it's a fit, you know?
We're going to talk so much more about why you are the way you are, the points in your career up until this point, and the other players on your roster, because we definitely can't not talk about them on Locked On Women's Basketball. And one of them has been on. More to come after this first break. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make time for the car MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is open to only U.S. customers. Also, another initiative that we have going on here at the Locked On Podcast Network is the Locked On streaming channel. So are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch over to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Sorry, we're doing a little dig at ESPN in that. Gina, your former employer, man.
I have ESPN locked on all day because it's the NFL draft. Like, Chicago's going up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're about to get whoever they want with the number 1 pick in the draft. So Angel and Camilla are going to have some good company out there in Chi-Town.
Chi-Town is going to go crazy. And I saw that they want to host a Super Bowl too. I'm with that. I know it's going to cost a lot of money, but that'd be sick.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Super Bowl should be in Las Vegas every year, but sure. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to keep it close to home. And I want to, like, around these, you've been around all these big events. Your whole career has been going to a whole bunch of sporting games. So you don't really go to them as often now. Right. What has been the most fun part leading up specifically to the draft and that moment with Angel Reese?
I think the most exciting thing was just seeing like the glow up for the women. Like, today's the day, today's the NFL draft, right? Like, I don't know if this will come out today, but Thursday, April 25th is the day of the NFL draft. And there's always this crazy excitement around the NFL draft. It's like Christmas, right? Like, your team gets to have these new amazing human beings come in and hopefully help them win a championship or get to the playoffs. You know, the NBA draft is very cool. It's a big spectacle. The WNBA draft is here now, right? And it's been here, and it's been great, and it's been interesting, and it's been fun, but it's never been like this. Like, we can't lie, right? You were there, I was there. Like, it was a whole vibe. They sold tickets. It was like standing room only. I was standing. I don't sit. I'm like, sitting that's like too much anxiety. Like, why would I do that? I got to be up pacing and using my hands to talk and running around and taking phone calls. And I mean, like, it was just exciting, and it was energy, and it was a vibe, and like, the girls deserve it, damn it, you know? And like, it's been a long time in the making. I thought the WNBA nailed like making it a fan, you know, activation, making it accessible to fans, letting them come and pay to be there or just be there. Hopefully they can continue to build on that, but it's only going to get like, this was the jump off, right? And like, every draft after this, like, look at next year's draft coming in. It's guard heavy. It's crazy. What happened? Look at when Juju and Hannah and Malaysia and Audi and all the others get up here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to fly every single year. So I think they created a blueprint for it this time around, and in large part due to, you know, Angel and Caitlin and Cam and having these really exciting players in the draft and leave college early because they all had a year to go back.
You are more than an agent. You have your finger on the pulse of anything culture, anything social media. You're heading content. What did you see at the WNBA draft that stood out in terms of making initiatives for content creators at the draft, even including the players themselves, because that they are content creators, they have to be?
I think the fact that like these young women, these athletes know who some of these bloggers are, know who some of these creators are that may not be traditional journalists and like traditional networks. The players get really excited, like when they see you, when they see Grady, when they see a fashion blogger that they followed, when they, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh yeah, that's who I want to talk to. Like, point that camera at me or point that phone at me. It's not weird anymore to have someone like pointing a phone at you. 10 years ago, that's weird. Like, what are you doing? Like, point a camera at me. I get it. So I think it was interesting to see that, like, you know, an outlet that comes running up to even Angel or whomever. Hey, I want to do this video with you. I want to do this interview. And it's like, wait, who are you? Just why didn't you have a press, you know, credential? Why weren't you in the press pen? And for like the players to be like, no, I know who he is. He's got 17 million followers and he does this amazing fashion blog. And like, I want to do this interview. That's huge. I mean, you know, that's, and it's a testament, especially I'll speak to Angel, to her understanding her brand so well. As a 21-year-old, like, I didn't even know what a brand was, and we didn't have social media. to be 21 and have such a pulse, such a your arms around your brand, your name, your image, your likeness, what that means, like how that is portrayed, what you want to wear on your body in terms of fashion. Like they're so savvy, especially her. She's so smart and so savvy about those things. I mean, and honestly, you know, a testament to Janine, to her mom, to her herself, just being so present in this new landscape. You know, I just kudos to them, because they're far savvier than we are. You know what I mean? And as their agents, we're trying to catch up and stay on point and stay on pace, because they're multi-hyphenates and they understand this business and they understand all the players. And, you know, we should always think about, like, I learn a lot from watching her move. And that's a rare thing. That's an incredible thing that hasn't happened previously.
And you said on a different podcast that you, in your playing days, if NIL was around, you would be right on that. You'd be capitalizing on everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I can speak to anything. I can talk to anyone. Like I you know, like the Riz God, like will come out if it needs to. But like, if there was social back then, or if there was NIL back then, I think I would have been decent. I think I'd have made some nice bread and had a little nest egg. So yeah, I mean, not to the level that Angel or any of these girls are doing it now, but I'd have been all right. Yeah.
Was there anything that you had to do in particular, like about, I mean, a lot of, like Angel Reese, a lot of the players had to go through COVID or go through these like world events that are unprecedented up until that point, but you went through something similar. You're in college at the time of a tragic event, 9/11. Was that any at all in your mind where you're bringing that past and you're like, when I was in college, I had to contextualize in this way, and then I'm going to help you, or we're going to talk through things, even if they don't even realize in the moment how important that like world event could be?
Yeah. I mean, I don't ever want to compare tragedies, because like you can't, right? Like it's so different. 9/11, I was I think a junior in college. And it was traumatic for sure. Like, I think you deal with a sense of like PTSD, you know, that you probably repress, and you're a kid. So you're so resilient, and you don't know, you know, you're playing basketball, you're a student, you're going to, you know, look ahead at your career, you know, post college. I think for the young student athletes and people to have gone through COVID, even in the WNBA, like, and the NBA with the bubble. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine, because for me, like being just a civilian at home during COVID, and, you know, being literally at home and in the house and away from family and loved ones, you know, they had to do that while still doing their day job. You know, our day jobs were able to be remote. Like we were able to just do this. They had to like be physically in the building, holding a basketball, rubbing shoulders with other people, wearing masks, playing games, and then dealing with the PTSD of that and the isolation of that. And also at the time, right, the bubble, especially for the WNBA, there was a massive emphasis on activism and justice, social justice. And there were things that were happening in the country that were not acceptable. And you have these athletes now in college and in the pros having to deal with being spokespeople, right, or ambassadors or endorsers for certain political agendas, you know, certain social agendas. And it was a lot. I mean, I can't even imagine. It seemed like a lot as a viewer. It had to have been a lot on them. And the girls in college, how tough, like, to your dream of getting to play, you know, the WNBA, like, it was a season that you can duplicate in the next season or the next season or the next season, right? For the most part. I'm not saying every WNBA player has a 3 to 5 or 10 year window. Some missed out on an opportunity because of COVID for sure, and didn't get to run it back. But in college, like that was like your sophomore or your junior or your senior year that you're never going to get back. Like you don't get to go back and do that again. That's it. It's over. And to not be able to compete, to not be able to, you know, have a tournament, to not be able to accumulate, you know, points and awards. I mean, you think of like Sabrina, you know, she was like in the thick of it and had to deal with it at the time at Oregon. And so many others, you know, Sedona, you know, right, with everything she was posting from their bubble. So, man, it was tough. I can only imagine. But yeah, I couldn't tell you if like the trauma from 9/11 and the trauma from COVID are equal, or even, you know, should be debated as such.
Right, right. And like usual, though, you're transitioning us perfectly to our next break, because our next sponsor is BetterHelp. Who you want to go to if you need something like this. This segment is brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking the same thing this week. And because I have Gina on, I'm going to say, man, it is hard to be constantly on, constantly working. And I would just say it's tough. And I think a lot of people relate to that. And also with sports too, you want to have fun, you want to watch games, but sometimes you can't because you're working. That's just one thing I want to get off my chest. Therapy could be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Also today, we are going to give credit to DoorDash, and Mother's Day is coming up. So we're going to give some love to DoorDash and all they do around that time of the year. Moms are a gift, so give her this best Mother's Day gift. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. Select from hundreds of expertly crafted boutiques and get the best tech to self-care essentials and more delivered right to her door. Does mom have a sweet tooth? Is she a tech enthusiast, a beauty connoisseur, or is she outdoorsy? No matter what you're into or your mom's into, you can make her smile with a fruit or a flower bouquet, makeup, tech gear, workout wear, and more. I know for me, my mom is definitely going to love any food I send her way. Get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place and get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. All right, Gina, sadly, I only have you for one more segment. I feel like there's so much I could talk to you specifically about. I know you and Lyft are making a lot of headway. You got Ja Morant on the roster now, too. What has been, maybe for you looking back on the year, what has been something that you're most proud of from the work that you've done?
You know, I'm very proud of being at a small shop. You know, like I've been at ESPN and CAA and the big agencies and the big corps, and I like being at a small shop. Like I feel most proud of like building the plane while flying it, or you know, helping to build the plane while flying it. Yeah, what Mike Miller and Donnie McGrath and, you know, even to our CFO Michael Brennan, like what they've been able to do in such a short time and scale at Lyft, and then you see sort of the fruits of their labor today with the signing of Ja Morant. Like I don't know that anyone expected that or saw that coming, but Mike did. You know what I mean? Like you have to play this long game, and like you don't always get the instant gratification of an announcement or a post or a public, you know, the Instagram graphic that like we signed so-and-so and we did this and it's about us and we like it's about the player, it's about the client, it's about the person that you're trying to build a relationship with and build trust with, and you do things on their timeline. You know what I mean? Like we work for them. I think people forget that we're not a boss of anything. Like my job is to help Mike Miller. My job is to help our men's side of basketball grow. My job is to help our clients look at opportunities in content and content marketing and in traditional marketing. My job is to sign players, you know, on men or women's side, you know, current or former, college or pro. And the only way you can do that is trust and rapport and be likable, but be organic, like be natural, like you're not forcing it. And you know, I think good things come. And like, that's the thing I've been most proud of at Lyft, watching these guys work, joining forces with them, guys that I've known in this industry for a long time, that we've collaborated on a client or a project before. And now we all get to, you know, sort of be in the same think tank together and watch them work and just watch how that finesse and that long game and that quiet strategy plays out, and not having to like bump your chest every time you do something and tell the world, look what I did for my client. It's like, just go do it. You know what I mean? You don't have to tell anybody about it. Go do it. And like when things like this happen and when announcements are made, people are like, oh, wow. Like, you know, that didn't happen overnight. It certainly did not. Like these are long, long plays.
And for you, was like building relationships and maintaining them part of the game that you had to play when you were booking talent with ESPN?
Absolutely. Like, and I was at ESPN for a long time, like 13 years in different areas, you know, on the ESPYs and in LA on, you know, the NBA property. Like every single relationship I forged at ESPN is a relationship I still have today. And really was the reason why the transition from being, you know, at a network on the creative, on the production side, on the network side was such a smooth transition, going to, you know, hop that fence and become an agent. Because both jobs, as a booker, as a producer, as a creative, and now as an agent, both jobs rely heavily on, number one, are you likable? And that's sometimes not something you can change about yourself. Sometimes it's like you either are or you aren't. And so it's not for everyone. You know, you can be faster or lift more weights, but like if you're not likable, like you may not ever be. And then it's about relationships. So like first step, I tell people all the time, like it's not super tangible. It's like, how do I become an agent? Or how do I get into this? Are you likable? Do people like rock with you? And if the answer to that question is yes, and you're not lying to yourself, then the next part of that is like, how do you get in there? How do you build trust? How do you build relationships? How do you, you know, make sure you follow up? How do you make sure when there's an issue, you troubleshoot it? You know, how do you turn sort of that like tragedy into triumph? Like, you know, some of the best relationships I have were built on a fuck up. I don't know if I can say that word, but like a mess up. And me fixing it, me going out of my way to make sure it never happened again, to make sure I could resolve it, to make sure I could troubleshoot it, to make sure that the agent or the client on the other end of that phone call or that email felt comfortable that I was doing everything I could to make it right. So sometimes it's that too. It's like, how well do you problem solve? How well do you troubleshoot? How willing are you to get out of your own way and be humble and just be like, that's on me. I take full responsibility for that. And now watch me work. I'm going to fix it. And I think if you have all of those things, you can be great at this. I think, you know, that's been the thing that I've carried with me from ESPN. I'll never regret having those experiences and being able to build those relationships in such a safe, you know, sterile environment. And then, you know, leaving ESPN and going now to work directly with athletes. It's all the same people that I was working with there. It's all the same people I was putting on TV. Mike Miller was a guy that, you know, his agent, Josh Pyatt at William Morris, who's one of my mentors, would call and be like, yo, can we get Mike on TV? And, you know, can we get him a day rate? And, you know, those types of negotiations, and him being on TV and me going to Bristol with him and like building a relationship with Mike. Now we are at the same agency. He hired me. We work together. So it's funny how things work out, but like, bridges can always be burned, but in this industry, you got to be really, really careful about which ones you're willing to burn, because you never know where someone's going to be 3 years from now and what studio they're going to run, or, you know, what client they're going to have, you know, what network they're going to be making decisions for. So yeah, it's a tight circle. You gotta keep it all really tight here. And that's one thing I'll take away with me from ESPN forever.
And everybody could take notes on everything that you just said. And sadly, we don't have much more time with you, but I have two quick hitting questions. The second one for our audience that wants to hear about Angel. I promise you guys, it's more about Angel. But first, I know you also would tune in and you like actually listening to the games.
Yes.
So I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Marv Albert or Mike Breen?
I grew up on Marv Albert. Mike Breen has been someone that I've admired more recently in life. Marv Albert takes me back, like nostalgic to when I'm a kid. You know, I'm in high school watching the NBA finals. I'm not even going to tell you what year that was. Like, that's the voice that I associate the NBA to, Marv. But Mike Breen, like, I mean, like, yeah, bang. Like how Stuart Scott had these Stuart Scott isms. Breen has the same thing. Honestly, I'm going to throw this at you though. Like, if I am going to listen to basketball, be analyzed and be, you know, and the play-by-play and the color. Honestly, I'm going Doris Burke and JJ Redick. Like, and I know neither of those two are play-by-play, so you still have to have like a Breen or a Marv, but Doris is GOAT. And JJ's like the rook that's really coming in and disrupting this whole thing. So props to both of them as well.
Okay. All right. I'm with that. I'm going to go Doris too. And
by the way, I could listen to Monica McNutt call any game, and I would love to hear her on the call more often. I love her calling games. I love Cheryl Swoops calling games. Andrea Carter, like, you know, she's studio, but when she's calling games and like out on location, doing more of that in the booth. Brooke Weisbrod, she does a lot of like radio. She does a lot of TV too, and like college basketball. She's phenomenal. She's got like one of those voices that you just want to listen to. So there's so many great people doing this, but yeah, those are my peeps. That if they're calling a game, I'm tuning in for sure. Sometimes I'm tuning in just for them, because it's like, why am I tuning into just like a random, like, you know, February NBA game, right? Like before the All-Star break, like I don't care. But like, you know, unless one of my clients is playing, I'm tuning in for the podcaster for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I love that. And yeah, shout out all those people too. I'm with that. Drea or Monica on a call too. I'm with that.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to hear Elle Duncan call games. Like I want Elle in a booth. Elle is nice. She is nice. And she's so quick with it. So Michelle Beadle too. Like I would have loved to have seen Michelle Beadle call more games. And I know she does for the Spurs. Like they are phenomenal at what they do. You got to be so quick and smart. And I just love, especially the women doing it. Mad props to them.
Me too. I feel very comforted when I'm watching a game and it's two women on the call, play-by-play and analysts. I'm like, yeah. I really like this. So I want to transition to last thing I'm going to ask you. Bayou Barbie, is she going to have a new nickname? I've seen around Chi-Town Barbie, Shy Reese, Her Royal Skyness. Is there anything that you guys have talked about? And I didn't make those up. That's straight from X. So I get no credit. Yeah.
I can't break Angel Reese news. Angel Reese breaks Angel Reese news. Like she's gonna, she's so good. She's so good at this. She does the poll sort of like, you know, what should I do, guys? And like reaches out to her audience and her fan base, and they're so dope. And some of the stuff they come back with is hilarious. And some of it's like really dope. And she'll be like, I like that. And I'm going to use that one. You know what I mean? And she'll give credit to maybe who came up with it. Yeah, she's not in the Bayou anymore, right? Like Baton Rouge is now in the rear view, and it's a place that she'll always go back, I'm sure. And you know, the relationship to Kim and LSU, and obviously Anissa's still there and Flaw is still there. So that's not going anywhere, but she's something else now. Like the Barbie is in Chicago. So, you know, yeah, she's going to have to figure out like how that looks and how she wants to, you know, wear the jersey and everything that goes with the uniform, and what her new sort of like, you know, like flair is going to be. And she'll come up with all of that. She does that. Like, again, all credit to Janine Obanaya. Her mom also named Angel Reese herself. They really do this. Like they have been doing this before I ever got there. They really do this. I take none of the credit. I'm along for the ride. I'm so thankful and so grateful to be there. But they do this. They're so smart, and they're going to come up with the best brand or image or likeness, whatever it is. Like everyone's going to love it. Everyone's going to go crazy for whatever the Barbie does next, you know?
Love that. And what are you going to be up to next? I know W season's starting. You got your NBA season still going. I'm sure you're going to have a busy summer. Syd TP Show, you know, a lot of that. Yeah. What else do you want to plug before we let you go for the day?
I'm excited to dig in on Ja Morant. Cheryl Swoops is going to be launching a new audio series, Syd and TP, very, very early, but have something very special coming together, something new, something you haven't seen before. In both audio and video, right? Digital as well as, you know, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. Let's see. I also am going to look at what's next in terms of clients I want to work with. There's a player in the W right now that I have my sight set on, and there's a player in college right now that I have my sight set on, and I want to try to make those things happen. It's too early to put that out in the universe by name, but like when it happens, hopefully you'll see it and it'll be very intentional. But there's two athletes right now that I really want to work with, you know what I mean? And like, I want to find them opportunities and I want to help them win. They can win on their own, but I just want to be a part of helping them win. Like Angel and Janine have won on their own for years. Now I get to come in and help them win in other ways. Like, that's phenomenal. Like, that's the stuff that you get up out of bed for, you know, as well as, you know, coffee. So, yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Gina, thank you so much for coming on all the time, all the wisdom. I feel like I could ask you anything from like business moves, X's and O's, style, sports history, literally anything. So thank you for being a resource. And everybody check out Gina if you haven't done so already. But just so you know, people know you. People know you, Gina.
They certainly can know me. I'm happy for them to know me, but it's not the ultimate goal. Like, I want them to know my clients. You know what I mean? My job is to make moves in the back and help my clients win in the front. So yeah, if you know me, great. And if you don't know me, but you see what my clients are doing and you know what my clients are doing, then we won.
You win. You win. Guys, check out Gina Paradiso. You see her link there on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Women's Basketball. I hope we see you again, and I hope you guys see Gina again, maybe also with sunglasses yet again on the Syd and TP Show, maybe starring in that. If not, check her out and have a great rest of your day. Thank you for making Locked On Women's Basketball your first listen of the day.
Say hi to Howard for me too, and Jackie and all the homies.
I will send this to them, but I don't even need to. They listen to it anyway. So thank you so much, Gina. Appreciate it.
All right.